if we don't have a clear focus on the future, it's very difficult for us to do anything long term that has any real value. Welcome to the Pillars Podcast. I'm Harry.
And I'm Carson.
If you're ready to confront life's challenges and become the man you're meant to be,
you found your tribe. Now let's dive in.
Let's join the conversation. All right. Well, we're back today, and we're going to talk a little bit about cultivating courage and understanding long-term rewards. And that's a really huge thing for young people.
This one's huge.
Yeah. So the kind of the question that is being asked is, why is it important to prioritize long-term rewards in this life, as a man?
And why is it important for somebody that's my age and your age?
Yeah, though, if we don't have a clear focus on the future, it's very difficult for us to do anything long-term that has any real value. When I think about this, Carson, one of the things that I think oh man, why didn't I focus on that when I was younger? When I worked for a computer company, and the technology was a big tech company, and we're always paying attention to other tech companies. And one of the ways in which we're paying attention to other tech companies is how their stock is doing. And so we paid attention to. I had one guy that was one of my colleagues who invested in the stock market way back when. And I mean, every day he's talking about how the market did this and that or whatever, and how much money he was making out of the stock market. And I remember just at one time thinking, let me just dabble. I put some money in the stock market, but it was after a while, I didn't do it earlier. Mm-hmm. And then I just kind of did it and didn't pay attention to it. Well, it was a pretty significant stock.
Oh, really?
But I didn't consistently monitor or even do anything. Like, well, I should put a little bit in here, put a little bit in here.
Got it.
And now I'm on this side looking back, and I'm thinking, why didn't I do those little things? It's just like a savings account. I could have just said, I'm taking cash out, I'm putting it in here just as an investment opportunity. And you're never going to get interest and accumulation later.
Yeah.
So it ended
up growing?
It ended up growing.
Some of the money that you put in?
It happened to be in Apple. So at that time, but had I been paying attention, and I can look at it now, and I tell my kids this now, I said, in order to have the rewards that can accumulate over time, you've got to pay attention to what the future is going to be. And so I show them, like, this is what the future could be if you had done these things back in those days. And that's where you look at it like a monetary reward, but that's applicable to other areas of character and development in our lives, that if we invest now in these things, the reward for us is going to be much greater.
I think for people my age, it's so tough accepting the long-term reward, because it's all about right now. Mm-hmm. Social media, it's all clicks.
Yes.
The likes and the instant gratification and the instant pleasures of whatever. So how would you, I know my sense of how I instill that in my life, but I don't know how I would teach somebody else that, because it's really something that you can't teach. It's something you gotta be willing to learn.
Yes. Well, that's the whole idea when we talk about cultivating courage. How do we cultivate, and why would we cultivate courage in someone? We cultivate courage in someone in order to be willing to take the risk. And in cultivating it, you would have to be giving them a vision that says, in this vision, this is where we're going. And when you get there, it's going to be so wonderful when you get there. And you're defining, what are the passions of your life? What are the things that you find most meaningful in your life? And if we're talking about those things, I said, well, this is what you might have to give up to do that. Yeah. This is what might be tough to
give something up. People my age.
Yeah, it's hard. Huh? We're in a whole society of accumulation. We
Yeah.
want everything. But in a real sense, cultivating this courage for something worthwhile in life, pretty much what we'll discover is we'll cultivate something that we think is worthwhile and
Yeah.
we'll get, and we'll realize that doesn't actually really satisfy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not worth that. It wasn't worth it. And then you try to, okay, I'm going to work hard, do this for this reason. I think it's worth sacrificing. And then you achieve something. Maybe it's a car you wanted.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's a
job
or a jet ski or something that you wanted and you get, and it doesn't have the full satisfaction.
Yeah.
I think the thing that for me that I want to help cultivate in the lives of real men is things that really matter. Cultivate courage to be able to do the right thing for an eternal reward. You know, there's a lot of things in life that we can achieve, but it would be a waste of time for me working with a young man to only achieve the very practical living things in the world.
Yeah.
When this world is just a vapor and there's an eternal kingdom.
And I think the longer reward for things in this world also paints the picture for the eternal reward.
Yes.
That's why it is important. I think that's why it is important to have long-term goals on this earth, because ultimately we have the one long-term goal.
I was talking to a buddy of mine just last night, and we were talking about the things that we acquire in life as if those are all the things that we need in life. And we get you were sitting at my backyard and we said, well, so we get the house and we get the car and we get all these things. And these are these the things in which God, oh, thank you for giving me all of this stuff. Well, really, the only reason he does give us stuff if we pay attention to it is he gives us stuff to bless others. And when I think about my backyard,
wow,
I love to hang out in the backyard, but I really love to hang out in the backyard when I bring guys over and we can hang out and we can talk and we can really get into real details about their life. Grandkids playing in the inflatable pool we have out there that they just got and they're having fun in it. It's to be able to offer. It is not the gold. It's not the thing we hold on to. Oh, I got this and I have it all the water. No, I give it to you to give out.
Yeah.
And so we can think about this in our modern or Western world. All these things are the values. Okay, thanks, God bless me with this. But what if I were in a third world country and I didn't have all these things?
Yeah.
What would God be giving me then? And what would be a blessing? That if I'm seeking Him first and the reward of Him, because He is the full reward,
right.
Honestly. If we're seeking that reward, then everything that He gives us would be available to what's in our influence.
Yeah.
I took a group of young men to Jamaica at the conclusion of a real man curriculum that we did. And we got to meet some great people. And we're still connected with some of the guys who were there. And we look at the differences.
This is the trip that you just went on, right?
Yeah, the trip we just got back from. And their lifestyle is different than our lifestyle.
Jamaicans,
yes. So we compare our middle class society to where they are. We might say, wow, they're really struggling. But I met a young man who God has blessed him and gifted him, and he cares and takes care of people in his community within the scope of what God has given him.
Yeah.
And he is blessed. But we can't compare what he has and what I have. Those things don't even matter. What matters is giving what we have to and for others for the purpose of what the ultimate goal is, to the reward of knowing God Himself, who has a greater purpose and a greater reward He wants to give us one day when we see Him in His kingdom.
One of the things that you talked about when you said, like, you know, you were talking with your buddy about the things that you get and that you acquire and that you attain and have. I think one of the things that you said, we get those things so we can give.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, it's not for us, it's for everyone around us.
Yes.
It's so easy to take pride in those things
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, I did it. No, this was me. I worked hard and God blessed me because of my hard work. For somebody my age, that's like so common
Oh yeah.
because no, I'm the one who got all these followers on social media. I'm the one who bought this car at 18 years old. What would your advice be to somebody like that on how to kind of humble themselves so that they can cultivate a greater future for those around them, you know?
That's very interesting because this was part of the conversation we had last night. And so, what would my answer be in a very simple statement? Keep living. When you keep living, you'll recognize. Because my buddy, he's ran a company, big company, made good money, was able to retire very young. Uh, just while he was going up, he was it. He would tell you, yeah, I look what I've done. This is
Yeah.
And then God really started to work on him. And this is the statement he told me just last night. I don't know nothing. I can't do hardly anything. This is someone who has accomplished what we would say is accomplished a lot, but he is recognizing that those kind of accomplishments, that was a gift that was given to me by God. That was a gift and it has contributed to him serving people today. So that when somebody calls up and says, my tire blew and I don't know where I'm going to get the money to get new tires and I got to get to work. Do you know any way that I can get some help?
So what you're kind of saying is about the journey.
It's about the journey. It will take you because he was even saying, why didn't I learn this stuff a lot earlier in life? Man, my life would have been he wouldn't have been blowing up himself in different ways every single time. But now he's at this place because he had learned this and he had come to this place of recognizing it's all God.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really embrace that. We can't, like very young. There's not a lot of us who can do that.
Well, what about like when it comes to your own willingness? Because at the end of the day, it's like God can use us. However, it's our own willingness to choose that.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to somebody that's my age who is struggling with that?
You mean the willingness to do the right thing when the desire to do other things is there?
Yes. And also knowing like that if they are willing to do the right thing, that the greater reward will be there in the end.
Yeah.
Because for me, I have to be reminded sometimes of the greater reward.
Yes.
You're daily.
Absolutely right about that. It's necessary to always be painting the picture of the greater purpose.
Yeah.
If we fail to have a clearer, a more cleared vision of the greater purpose, it's hard for us to navigate the where we're going. If we're on a road trip and you and I want to go to New York and we're like, let's just go to New York. And we don't know whether New York is this way or that way. If we know New York is heading that way and that's where we're going. And even though we may stop somewhere between there and it's really good, we won't go, this is not where we're staying because we're heading to New York.
New York.
We always know the destination. And when we always know the destination, then we have a way of navigating whatever it is that we're dealing with in our life at that time and make correct decisions at that time.
Right.
I when we talk about the ability to do the right thing at any given time, we're not always going to do the right thing, but when we know this ultimately is the reward, we're gonna come back to it. I remember when I was in college, I grew up wanting to do what God wanted me to do, and I wanted to be a man. I wanted to have a family, all these things. My father was a great example.
Very quickly, at what age? Growing up, like what age was this?
I was in college at the age of 19 years old, 19, I was in college, and and my parents gave me a lot of freedom when I was at home. I could do kind of whatever I wanted to do. They didn't have any curfews. I wanted to do the right thing, and so they depended on me, trusted in me in that. But when I got to college, there's a lot of opportunities out here, and I wanted to experience a lot of opportunities. But I knew what God's way was, and I said to Him, God, I know what you want me to do, but right now I kind of just want to do my own thing. Help me not to get so far away that I don't hear you. And by golly, God answered that prayer.
Wow.
There are times I was in a situation and the Lord would say, don't do that. Move away. And He didn't condemn me. He knew where I was. And that's such the important thing that I want young men to know. God knows exactly where you are.
Yeah, that's huge.
And be honest. And when you're honest with who you are and where you are, He can handle that. And if you're wanting what He wants for you, He's going to direct you and He's going to help you get there.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about that the next time.
Yeah, I'm excited to dig a little bit deeper.
But it's great to be able to have this idea of cultivating, the courage and to paying attention to where the long-term goal is that we want to achieve. We'll see you next time.